what sustainable development is. It's development that meets the needs of the present without compromising future generations. If you speak to, say, Singaporeans about their children and their children's children, and will they be able to go hiking, will they be able to swim in the oceans, then I think that resonates. But it will be a different message. When I worked in Thailand, there was a concept of self-sufficiency model, and that had sustainability. I can remember many years ago when I worked in the UK talking about climate change, and it was really hard to get them to understand that global warming was a bad thing, because almost everybody to a person was excited by the idea that they'd be able to grow their own grapes to grow wine in the UK. And I was like, no, global warming is a bad thing. We're not doing it just to be able to grow our own wine. So I think tapping into the culture of where you are working and sustainability, whether that's organisational or a country culture, it has to resonate, it has to be meaningful to them for them to want to make a change. As an individual, there are small steps that you can take, and there are various lists, but it is interesting that I think it also has to marry up with your own personal values and what you are likely to do. I often get asked this question, and there was a study done in the UK, and it was, what are the top 10 things I can personally do to impact climate change? And I shared this with an audience in Singapore. And the first one was eat less meat and dairy products and create less food waste. And most people kind of screwed up their face and like, well, maybe, but they weren't really convinced that that was a good idea. And I think the third one was only take one overseas flight, long-haul distance flight every 8 years, and a short-haul flight every 3 years. And at that point, everybody tuned out. Nobody was listening to my 10 points of sustainability. So I have completely lost the audience. And that's where I'd say, I think scientifically that study did have backing of why they were choosing those, but you have to time it for the audience. Singapore, a small country where you really need to fly to go anywhere, except perhaps directly to Malaysia or maybe sail to Indonesia. Flying is important. It's how people stay connected, and maybe there are other things that people can choose to do, like it's a finance centre. How you invest your money and making sure that finance is financing a genuine, sustainable change to a low carbon economy could be much more impactful.
Thank you for listening to One Question with Rushit. This is your host, Rushit Shah, and see you in the next episode.